We're just delighted that the exhibition has come from the Met in New York to the V&A, and the curator of the exhibition in New York, Andrew Bolton, has been the consultant curator for this show. The difference really is that we've just added a bit more content, so the core of the exhibition remains the same, but it's been expanded to include 66 more objects, so it's about 30% larger than what was seen at the Met. Well, I think what Andrew Bolton did when this show was first staged at the Met in 2011 is to, and this is something that we've actually continued, is to work with his collaborators. So people like the stylist Katie England, but also the people that helped put on his catwalk shows, such as Sam Gainsbury, in addition to some of his creative collaborators for the shows themselves, for the garments, so designers like Philip Tracy and jeweler Sean Lean. Those people have been very much a part of helping us to tell the story. The exhibition, rather than being arranged chronologically, is really grouping the garments around themes. And we're standing, for example, in a room called Romantic Gothic, which looks at, across McQueen's career, examples of a kind of Gothic preoccupation. His was a 19th century Gothic interest, and so that linked into a kind of dark view of humanity. He was very interested in the films of Tim Burton, but also in the kind of darker side of nature as well. We're standing in front of a garment from 2002 that's a kind of highwayman style cape that's blowing in the wind. And again, there's this kind of dark palette that I think connects a lot of the garments in this Gothic section. I think what was very timely about McQueen's rise was that it happened at a time when British artists were also very much in the public eye. He worked very closely with a number of them, and he also incorporated fine art into his work. Even though he left school when he was 15, he had a very, almost a kind of emotional response to the history of art. And if you'll see in garments in this exhibition that he visually quotes fine artists such as Robert Campin and also Hieronymus Bosch. The Portinari altarpiece is also featured in one of his gowns. So there is this, I think, a wider link to what was going on in the art scene in London that's reflected in some of McQueen's own work. And I think rather than try to label him as one thing or another, I think what's certainly true is that his work was more than just fashion, because he was also a storyteller. The way that he presented his fashion collections incorporated theater in a way that was really unique, and I think that's one of going to be his enduring legacies, is the fact that his collections were conceived as elaborate narratives, as stories, and when they were presented on the catwalk, those stories were told in a way that was very compelling, but also quite disturbing sometimes. What I find so remarkable is that here is a man who left school at 15 and sought the schooling that he needed to become a great designer. Somehow he found his way to Savile Row, and after 4 years of experience in Savile Row, he then got a master's degree from Central St. Martin's in 1992. And so through this kind of search, he's also was able to reference things like fine art that often you need a master's degree or PhD to understand. But through his filter, through his creative filter, he somehow brought it to life in a way that connected with fashion rather than fine art. I'd say three things. One is his sense of theater, which made his catwalk shows almost like art happenings. Two would be his absolute mastery of cut and construction gained from 4 years' work on Savile Row. And three is the level of quality and craftsmanship, that even clothes that perhaps on first glance are shocking or disturbing are always grounded in this absolute confidence with cut and construction that goes back to a level of quality that's really remarkable. What is so exciting about working at the Victoria and Albert Museum is that our permanent collections are so rich and so vast, and that means that as a curator it's like it's a dream to work here because we're always able to draw upon that collection, and there's always stories that haven't yet been told. And so, of course, an exhibition like this raises the bar, but it means that it's a challenge to all of us to surpass it.